So there's no denying the value of ring dips as an exercise, as a movement to improve both your performance and your general health. The fact that you have these almost unlimited degrees of freedom as those rings can move mean that it's not only a great exercise for improving strength and stamina, which you may also see with a standard bar dip, but it's an excellent exercise to improve stability. Primarily stability in two areas. Firstly, your ability to externally rotate at the shoulder. For bonus points with ring dips, that external rotation at the top of each repetition can really build this extra shoulder stability. And secondly, because you are forced to adduct the arm, you're forced to pull the arm in towards you. These extra little stabilizing muscles which are working, which you wouldn't ordinarily get if you weren't doing ring dips and were instead doing a standard bar dip. However, it is quite an advanced exercise, and because of this, it can be quite difficult to scale for people who maybe don't have the strength or the stability to do this movement without assistance. So a lot of people fall back on a tried and tested method of scaling ring dips where they take a band, they attach it from one ring to the other, kneel or stand in the band and complete their repetitions in that manner. However, there are some problems with this method and some problems that we've looked to remedy with an updated way of scaling ring dips. So what are the problems? The main issue here is that when we're scaling a movement in order to build up to that full movement, we want to keep the movement as similar as possible. We want to keep the muscle activation patterns as similar as possible. And when we are attaching a band from one ring to the other, not only do we have assistance because we are not going to be lifting as much weight, but we also have assistance because we're losing the need for stability. The problem, of course, with this is you take the band away, and even if you have the strength to do this repetition, you don't have the stability and you're back to square one. So having these bands attached to the rings, it basically artificially gives you this arm adduction that we're looking for. So then when you take the band away, you haven't started to develop these stabilization skills. So we have a problem. How can we scale the movement by scaling the load without losing these muscle activation patterns? How can we ensure that we can have varying degrees of how much weight you're having to lift, varying degrees of your body weight, while at the same time ensuring that we're getting the shoulder external rotation and the shoulder adduction that we are looking for? And there's a secondary issue here as well. And that issue is that when you're standing or kneeling in a band, you get a different amount of assistance at each phase of the repetition. So when you're down at the bottom of that dip, you get lots of assistance because that band is at maximum stretch. As you start to lock out that movement towards the top, the assistance becomes less and less. So it starts to mess with that strength curve a little bit. It's not consistent and a regular way to be able to build up your ability with this movement because you're getting a different or varying degree of assistance all through the range. So what is our solution? Well, the solution comes down to being able to have an even level of resistance all the way through and ensure that that resistance is not being given to the rings. So we're not stabilizing those rings, but are instead 100% stabilizing the rings ourselves to learn those correct movement patterns to make progression faster. So we complete this with a standardized setup. We have a low set of rings which are set up and a band which runs between the uprights of those rings. You will stand on that band and you'll hover your feet just a centimeter off the ground. Now the key element here is that your feet stay just off the ground for the entire repetition. From this starting position, you will then lower into that full depth ring dip. You will then lock out, turn out those rings at the top to give you that external rotation. You can see that this solves our two problems. Firstly, we are being forced to stabilize ourselves because the rings now have these unlimited degrees of freedom, these unlimited movements, the band is not holding them together. And secondly, because we have a constant level of assistance, that band is at the same degree of stretch all the way because of that flexion or extension of the knee and the hip as we do the movement. You're able to keep that strength curve even. You have the same amount of assistance at the bottom of the rep as you do at the top of the rep. Because in the end, this is an excellent movement, but it's a movement which is often butchered and often done incorrectly. And by doing this, you're losing all of the benefits that you get from the stability. So try this next time you're doing ring dips. Set up, make sure it's a consistent setup each time you do it so you can replicate your results and check your progress. In the end, this is going to be healthier on your shoulders. It will be a faster way for you to progress towards that full unassisted movement.